All right, guys. So welcome to week 3, HRM 230. We're going to talk about beach resorts and destination marina resorts. So I'm going to quickly knock through this because um, we have the 2 chapters this week, so I don't want to have it too much for you. So follow along with the PowerPoint if you like, because I'm going straight off the PowerPoint. So let's talk about beach resorts. During the development process, you're going to look at several different things, whether or not this is a good idea, right? One of the first ones, you're going to look at the sea. Uh, is that site, the ocean, the sea, where you are, is it attractive? Determine air temperature, amount of wind, sun, water temperatures, currents, tides, ecology, pollution, clarity of water, all those things. Now, a resort manager will look at this beach, if you will, um, in certain ways. More differently, they'll look at it differently than maybe just you or I or someone who's not a manager of a beach resort. And one of the things they're going to look at is they're going to look at the seashore. Now, what is a seashore in their mind? A seashore consists of the surface of the water extending out at about a depth of 6 feet and should consist of coarse or sand and pea gravel mixture, and it should be nice and pleasant. So that's the seashore, right? The beach itself should have a slope between 2 and 10%. Ideally, you're looking at about 5% slope. All right. The back beach is a big thing. The back beach is not just where the water meets the sea, but behind that offers a view of the sea and the inland, protected from degradation as far as erosion and stuff like that. Is a major concern for developers to consider further improvements. So uh, you'll see a lot of back beaches having vegetation grown in there to keep the beach healthy. All right. So the coastal stretch consists of the beach environment between half a mile and 3 miles back from the back beach. Okay. So that's another thing you want to look at. Yeah, there's a beautiful beach, but it's right up against a I don't know, factory or something like that, right? So you want to look at the back beach, right? It should, because this is a resort, right? This is not just a beach. This is a resort, so it's the full picture, the full experience you're looking for. So the surrounding countryside you want to look for too, the natural attractions that are there, the extent of the development, the surrounding infrastructure, the opportunity for excursions other than your beachfront. All right. So those are all things that you want to look at. Now, during the site development process, you want to see about your access to permanent or transient seasonal population. All right, do I have access to the population? Right? Do I have access to major roads? If I don't have a population there, how about having access to roads? Will make sure that I have access to populations that are a couple hours, 3 hours, 4 hours away. I'm going to look at minimum water temperature. Now we touched on that, but you don't want anything below the upper 60s, right, in Fahrenheit. You during the swimming season. Now, if it's certainly beach resorts are somewhat seasonal, but um, so you might not have water temperatures of the upper 60s 12 months out of the year, especially up north or more seasonal places. A place like Florida where you have summer, pretty much summer is 12 months out of the year, or at least what other people would consider summer. Uh, that's not a problem. But when you're up north or whatever, yeah, you're not going to have upper 60s in December. But as long as you have that during the season, then you'd be all right. Now, the longer the season, the better for the property. All right. Warm, sunny conditions before and during the season. Warm water to attract swimmers and sunbathers. All right. Water quality needs to be analyzed before your development. Make sure that it's safe to be swim in. Toxic water is not a good thing for a beach resort. There's also a variety of other factors. The air temperature. There is a distinct correlation between swimming beach use and maximum air temperature. Right? If it's too hot, people won't go in. If it's too cold, people won't go in. Not even just in. Let's face it. Many of the people that go to a beach, whether it's at a resort or public beach, they don't do it for swimming is secondary and just being at the beach is primary, and you don't want it cold. All right. or you don't want it too hot. So the amount, like, you look at Florida, for example. When I first moved to Florida, or I first started visiting Florida before I moved there, I found out that their busy season is not summer, it's the wintertime. All right, people go to the beach in the wintertime and summer, and they don't go to the beach in the summer. I think I said that correctly. But in Florida, it's just too daggone hot to be out there in the beach. Only the diehards go to the beach in the summertime. Okay, so that is a good illustration that sometimes it can be too hot. All right, um, we want to look at the wind and sun. All right, is direct sun is something you want, but too much could be bad. Too much a breeze is something you want, but when you always you're steadily at 40 miles an hour, that could be a distraction. Okay, um, okay. So other things for the site attract is what makes a beach attractive is water temperature. We said it, current, tides, waves. Waves. Um, too big a wave, people aren't going to go, except maybe the very very most professional surfers. Uh, too small, you might lose some surfers. But everybody wants a little bit of waves. And then the currents, how it affects your site, ecology. What kind of natural environment do we have? We have seaweed, fish, things of that nature. Is there interest there? Pollution. Is it polluted water? Is it polluted beach? Those are things that people take into consideration. Clarity of water. Now, clarity of water doesn't necessarily have anything to do with, I won't say have anything to do, but it's not necessarily 100% correlated, connected with pollution. Other natural elements can make visibility less, like sand and mud and things like that nature. But clarity of water, having about 5 to 6 feet of water clarity is important. Is about where you want. Possible attractions, islands. You know, if it's just a beach and the back beach is flat with buildings and the front beach is just ocean as far as you can see with no interest, maybe a little island out there, little coves. Those all add interest, right? Okay, so now we're going to talk about marinas, and I'm going to really breeze through marinas. But a marina is definitely, there are destination resort marinas, right, or marina resorts. But think about a marina. A marina is nothing more than a hotel for boats. And when you have a hotel for boats, you have people. Or when you have boats, you have people. And you can actually have, marinas will have big hotels. I stayed at a Airbnb on a boat in um, Key West, and uh, but there was a hotel. The marina was a hotel as well. You could actually, the folks that, for me, the attraction was stay on a boat overnight. But folks that travel around the world a boat, they want to stay someplace nice, right? So they have that, and it was a beach resort, but it was no beach. It was more. There was a little bit of a beach, but the attraction was the marina and the hotel, and the resort itself had amenities and things of that nature. So the process of developing one of those is there's 5 steps. You want to analyze the market, uh, take into consideration the area's economy, analyze both demand and competitive supply and demand for uh, the primarily reason for being in that area, right? If it's a popular area, you might want a marina. If it's not a popular area, you might not need a marina or want a marina. Develop the market strategy for and the marina concept. Determine the services that are going to be offered. Define the size, the mix of boats you want to, because if you cater to just small boats, you alienate big boats, whatever. Um, and then funding services, calculate fees, estimate cash flow, identify the site, identify the preserved site, compiling and mapping data, note state and federal policies and controlling proposed uses of sites, and all that stuff. You have to take all that into consideration. All right. Um, feasibility analysis. You get the next step is a feasibility analysis. This is feasible, and then design your marina. Create detailed construction photos, files, obtain permits, all that other stuff. Permits are going to be huge. Permits are used for anything, but for a marina as well, it's definitely going to have environmental impact and all that other stuff. So development criteria is proximity to population base, how close we are to the population. Accessibility by main road, just like with the beaches. Sufficient water in the marina for basin and marina basin for development. You got to have enough water, all right? So if the site looks pretty but it doesn't have enough water, you have to take that in consideration. Significant water depth and surface for proposed activities, all right? A minimum of 8 feet below the low water depth is ideal, all right? 8 feet below low water depth. Natural protection from winds and storms. There's a reason why there's harbors, right? Throughout human history, parts of oceans or parts of shorelines have been attractive to mariners, and other parts have not. The ones that are attractive to mariners are natural protection from wind and surf and stream weather and stuff like that. So your site doesn't necessarily have to be that naturally. You can create this, but the ability to do so is important. But natural protection definitely makes it easier. A stable shoreline. Um, there are shorelines in the world that change every day, every year. Every year, it's different. That's not where you want to do your marina. If you do it in a place like that, you're going to spend a lot of money reinforcing the shore. Uh, you want a good southerly exposure as well. Good water quality. You want aesthetics pleasing. Well, it needs to be a nice place, right? Reasonable fluctuation in water levels. Uh, and then freedom from ice. You don't want it to be iced up. Uh, uh, 4 months out of the year, 2 months out of the year. All right, so analyze the interdependence between the four principles that guide marina design. The geography designs determines the engineering. The all those things I was said about water depth and protection from wind and all that stuff. That's geography, right? If those are not good matches, we have to do more engineering, right? The engineering determines the profile of the type of marina we're going to have. The profile determines the layout, and the layout determines the architecture. All right. Uh, Geography determines the engineering. Major cost in building marina comes from dredging, locks, bulkheads, and we're going to talk about all these things hopefully. Oh yes, dredging means that you have to dig out the area if it's not deep enough. If you don't have that 8 feet, then you have to dredge. Locks are the answer. That's where a lock is basically where boats go in at one water level, and then water gets pumped in to raise them to another water level. That might be the answer in some areas, but that's very costly, and that's why you want to look at natural features first. All right. Bulkheads. A bulkhead is nothing more than basically a man-made seawall, right? A retaining wall that's back. Most marinas are going to have a bulkhead, at least going into it or whatever. Breakwaters. Breakwaters are out a little bit. They're little walls, or you see them. They're piles of those cement jacks. That's what I call them, or the cement piles of, or it could be natural earth. But generally speaking, it's going to have some kind of man-made element, so to prevent from erosion. That separates the marina proper from the ocean. That's what a breakwater does. And then you need piles, which support piers. There's nothing more than piles, which is a stacked material that supports piers, bulkheads, anchors, whatever. Let's see. The engineering determines the profile. Four basic marina types offshore are offshore, recessed, built-in, and landlocked. Okay. Offshore requires a minimum bulkhead. That means that people anchor out, and then they take little tiny boats or rafts, or they swim to shore. All right. Recessed means that when conditions in the sea bottom do not allow for offshore layout, recessed marinas may be a good option. And you can look more about recessed marinas in the book. And built-ins offered advantages: uninterrupted shoreline. They are large land-water interface, and they considerable enclosure, so they're protected. And then landlocked is the most costly. It's the safest type of marina, and offers that. And again, you can read all these more detailed in the chapter. All right. Now let's talk about the profile determines the layout. The best shape is rectangular, which allows for the greatest density of boats and easiest maneuvering. The best choice for mooring layout is whether to have fixed or floating piers. That's in the offshore. Uh, and let's go to the next slide. Architecture. Architecture takes into account the circulation pattern, how the boats are going to come in, basically traffic for boats, social interest of the boaters, and the need for support facilities. Support facilities is where they're going to take on fuel and things of that nature, and other kinds of support, also repairs and things of that nature. Okay, let's see. But the architecture must also attract non-boaters. Marinas must increase attractiveness to provide more recreational opportunities. Just because we are a marina resort doesn't mean that we're not a resort first and foremost. So we want to have other things. So people might want to stay at a resort marina because they like looking at boats, and then you have the beach. You might have beaches and all that other stuff. So you want the big picture. You want to look at that stuff. Um, all right. So that's pretty much it for chapter 4, and hopefully this wasn't too wham bam. Thank you, ma'am, for this video. But I wanted to knock out a short video because obviously the long ones you guys don't watch. So here we go. Next video will be in chapter 5.